Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Cheltenham Racecourse here on Wednesday. It's the 1st of January, 2025. We're going to look at the stakes races on the program from Cheltenham, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the stakes action from Cheltenham races 4 and 6, the 205 and the 305. Excuse me, 315, excuse me. The fourth race, the 205, it is the Befair Exchange Handicap Chase. It's a Class 1 Premier Handicap Chase going for a purse of $127,000. Race for 5-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 9 horses contesting the distance of ground here of 4,200 meters or 2 miles and 5/8 over the chase course. I'm going to go with the 3-horse, Colonel Harry as a top selection. 3-1 for me in the forecast exacta here. 3-1 forecast exacta. Definitely use them both in your quad pot wagers here, but the top selection would be the 3-horse Colonel Harry. Similar going by Scirocco. Jamie Snowden trains. Gavin Sheehan gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently on the 30th of November at Newbury. 3 miles and a quarter in a Class 1 Premier Handicap Chase, the Coral Gold Cup. He just didn't get the trip that day. Finished 11th by 43 lengths that day. He hit the wall. He just wasn't staying the extended 3 miles. I think turning back to 2 miles 5/8 here to Cheltenham today, he's going to be in a better spot to find the winners enclosure today than he was last time. He ran 2 back at Carlisle on the 3rd of November, 2.5 miles in a Class 1 intermediate chase. First start over the bigger obstacles in a little bit of time. He finished second by 2 3/4 lengths that day. He jumped well that day. He moved a little bit late. Might need the race off the bench, but I've seen worse race from him. I thought it was a good return to the races. And then final start last year against some very tough competition in the Grade 1 Manifestos Novices Chase at Aintree. 2.5 miles, the 11th of April. He finished fourth by 18 lengths that day. He had quite a few mistakes which cost him, just yielded out of it. Just tough horses that day. And then prior to that, he ran here at Cheltenham back in March, 2.5 miles in the Grade 1 Turner's Novices Chase, finished 6 by 17 lengths that day. And he just never was really into it. He was way out of it most of the race and just got outclassed by the others. He has a decent, horse. He's a Grade 2 winner, winning the Taunton Novices Chase at Weatherby last January, where he won by 1 3/4 lengths, an all-out, victor late. A few mistakes down the backside, but still won quite easily. Refreshing here, back in trip. I'm going to give him a shot to win. I think the 1-horse Hitman can win also for Harry Coden and Paul Nichols. It's 9-year gelding now. He ran most recently in the Old Roan handicap chase at Aintree back in October, where he finished second by 1 3/4 lengths that day. And again, he had a few mistakes, which probably cost him late. Just didn't jump the most fluid race, but he did move a little bit late. He showed potential down the backside. They ran him with blinkers 2 back in the Oaksley Chase at Sandown, 2 miles 7/8 in April. On quite fast ground, he finished third by 12 lengths that day. Again, a few mistakes. Maybe the trip was a little bit too long. It wasn't his day to win. And then ran here at the festival last year in the Rhino Chase, where he finished eighth by 35 lengths. And that day, he was with them early on, but then just completely crumbled. He got outclassed by the others. If you look at some of his races last year, he was facing some very tough competition. The ground shouldn't be as lightning soft as it was last year, and it's not going to be lightning fast either. I think a slight give is something he wants to do. Coming back and trip, I'm going to give him a shot here at 10-1 in this very good feature. But to recap my select for the 205, the fourth race from Cheltenham, it is the Betfair Exchange Handicap Chase. We're going to take the 3-horse Colonel Harry's top selection. Give kudos to the 1-horse Hitman. 3-1 forecast exactly. Use them both in the multi-race. So let's scroll over to race number 6 now, the 315 from Aintree, Cheltenham. The 6th race, the 315. It's the feature of the program. It is the Grade 2 Relkeel Hurdle. It's Grade 2 event for Class 1 horses going for a purse of $89,000, race for 5-year-olds and upwards. Field 7 horses going the distance of ground of 4,000 meters or 2.5 miles over the chase course, or excuse me, hurdle course. Top selection, I'm going to go with the 2-horse Langer Dan as top selection. 2-1-3 for me, and the tricast trifecta. 2-1-3 tricast trifecta. Top selection 2-horse Langer Dan. It's an 8-year-old gunny here. Dan Skelton trained. Harry Skelton gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently here at over at Newbury on the 29th of November. 3 miles in the Grade 2 Coral long distance hurdle, and he finished third by 13 lengths that day. And he was with them early on. Then he just kind of yielded. maybe the 3 was just a little bit too long for him. 2.5 miles is in his wheelhouse. He's back at it today. He's back here to Cheltenham, where he ran very well in the festival last year. I'm going to give him a shot to find the winners enclosure today. Last time out, they were just asking a little bit too much, also off a long refreshing. It was his first race since April, the 27th to be exact, 2 miles and 11/16 in the grade 2 select hurdle. He finished second by 1/4 lengths that day. And again, he sat back early. He moved a little bit late, but he just wasn't going for that trip. I think he wants to cut back. Also, it was at the end of a very tough, spring campaign. They ran a three back in the Aintree Hurdle, the great one Aintree Hurdle at Adrian soft ground, 2.5 miles, 11th of April, and he outran his odds at 18 to 1 that day. He finished third by a head. He sat back early, jumped up well late, picking up nicely. Not a bad race in defeat. Like I said, outran his odds. And then back here at the festival last year in the Coral Handicap Hurdle with 2 miles and 5/8, winning by 3.25 lengths that day. He was under the drive, excelling on the front end. He jumped a terrific race, got up the hill well. Nothing bad about that race. He's definitely been on the improve since last year's festival. Coming here today, second off the bench. I think he's going to be a more fresh horse to win. I'm going to use him here. A horse to head off the quarter place pot here would be the one horse lucky place for Nika de Boinville, Nicky Henderson. He ran most recently at Ascot in the Grade 2 Ascot Hurdle back in November, where he won by a length that day. And, he was with them early on. He had to be used a lot that day off the bench, but he got the job done. It was a great performance for him. He ran two back behind Landredan in the Coral Handicap Hurdle during the festival last year, where he finished fourth by 4.75 lengths that day. And he just moved a little bit late, but it wasn't anything spectacular. And then the Grade 2 Super Alloys Novices Chase at Cheltenham back here last January, finished second by a half length. And again, he just took him a little bit of time to get going, and he just was a little bit of a tired horse that day. He showed potential off the bench last time out. Back here at Cheltenham, 5-2. I know it's not the best price in the world, but he's another horse. He could definitely get a piece of it. I'll use him on the ticket. But to recount my selection for the 315 now, this featured 6th race from Cheltenham here on New Year's Day. It is the Grade 2 Relkeel Hurdle. We're going to take the 2 horse Landredan, give kudos to the 1 horse Lucky Place. 213 Tricast Trifecta, 2-1 to end off the quad pot. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5. Good luck, everybody.